We welcome you into yet another edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show. Yours truly coming to you live from Quaker Steak and Lube, the beloved Goon taking care of the pooches at home, and glad that everybody is home and on the mend. It's hard to believe, Goon, that we are starting school, at least in the State College area school district, next week, and that the students are returning. Well, they've been returning, but they'll return en masse this coming weekend, and we'll start classes up, and that means that football season is actually the real football season, not this preseason NFL stuff. The real season is just about here.
It's only 18 days away, but who's really counting? I mean,
everybody and then some.
Yeah, 18 days to our next tailgate, Ironhead. I can't wait. I've waited 3 years for this, two plus years. Thanksgiving of what, 19?
Yeah. Boy, that's just crazy to think of.
It's amazing to think about it. It really, really is. I mean, I keep on seeing people on Facebook and social media that they're at a Phillies game or at an Eagles game for the first time in like 470, 800. I'm like, holy crap, it's a long time. But yeah, I mean, my wife went back to work Monday on campus full time. So we were adding it up, and it was, I believe, March 14th of 20 when they got sent home, and she went back full time on Monday. So that's 17 months.
Yeah, that's too long. That's just way too long at the end of the day. Good, as we start making the turn toward the actual start of the season and meaningful football. Again, overall, I think the news remains to be good as far as Penn State is concerned, but the Adisa Isaac injury is obviously a concern in terms of depth and just kind of figuring out now how to utilize, I think, some of the personnel that Penn State has to utmost effectiveness to try to keep everything on an even keel on that side of the ball here moving into the season. And again, the good thing with the start of that season is, again, everybody's attention, you figure, is fully there. There's no doubt that everybody understands the significance and the importance of that opening game. But, the downside is you do not have that opportunity to kind of, all right, let's see how some of these guys may actually produce in different spots, different positions, or how certain units might be melding in terms of actual game situations. You can't be experimenting and trying to figure that out during the course of the Wisconsin game. You've got to feel good. I mean, there's going to be some, obviously, if you see something's not working, you're going to make a change. But I mean, you've got to feel more confident than you normally would with the entire situation as a coaching staff with what you've put together going into that Wisconsin game than you would a quote unquote normal season opener.
Yeah. Again, I still would. Have we ever gotten an answer of why the Big Ten is starting off with half the teams playing each other and the other half aren't? I don't get it. I don't know. I would like to go back to have a MAC school to open the season up, but it's a tough game to open the season. Yep. And I think that because of how last year went, that James is really, 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 really like focused, like laser focused on this team and this season, and it starts with Wisconsin. So one thing I do got to say, and you've been here long enough to realize, remember how tight-lipped Joe was about his practices and this and that and injuries and stuff? Yes. I got to give it to James Franklin. He's pretty damn good himself at keeping. I haven't heard anything coming out of camp as of yet.
No, you're right. That's been pretty much the case during his tenure here. I think he's been pretty good about keeping a tight ship and getting the loyalty that you need from the coach. It's not just the coaches and players, but I mean it's the staff, right? Like a lot of times, the leaks that come out from programs is a result of, and not that the public ever knows it, but I mean it's a result of managers, or I mean it's the surrounding personnel that are sometimes willing to, hey, yeah, I'll feed you this type of stuff, and to James Franklin's and Penn State's credit, again, very very little gets out that he's not putting out or doesn't want out, and I do think that's a sign of a good relationship that's been formed, and a good understanding of what is expected of everybody involved in the program.
Well, absolutely. I see now we're going straight with the audio here, huh?
Yeah,
I apologize. A lot of people are happy about that. Trust me. Yeah,
you look like you're giving a karate chop. It's a good action shot there with your hand.
Well, that's good. I mean, I like to hear that, Now, but I'm telling you, I think he was as embarrassed and mad about last year's team as a lot of the fans were. I really, 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 truly, truly believe that. And that, again, I go back to using the word laser focused about this team and about this game and about this season. I really, really, I see something different this year than I have in the past. That's just, how's that sound, right?
Yep. Yeah, and I like the fact, if you didn't see, I'm assuming most folks have, the AP preseason top 25 came out. And the thing I really like about the top 25 this year is the number of new teams you have in that top five. It's just fun, Goon, because it's not the same old. It's, Alabama's making an appearance there. That's the first time since, well, yeah. Oklahoma, though, that they're number 2. Clemson out of nowhere comes in at number 3. Ohio State number 4, and Georgia number 5. So, teams that we're really excited to see up there that we just haven't seen, except for every year since the playoffs began, figuring into the top 5. The rest of the top 10, if you did not see, Texas A&M at number 6. And that is, for me, one of the more intriguing storylines, with Texas and Oklahoma making the move to the SEC. And I realize, again, it doesn't officially happen until 2025. But I think watching the trajectory between now and 2025 of Texas A&M and Texas, to me, is one of the more fascinating components to this. Because, again, Texas has not exactly been lighting the world on fire by any stretch in the Big 12, and it's hard to see from a competitive standpoint how this will help Texas with the move to the SEC. And I think Texas A&M, again, at this point, clearly has a leg up. I don't think Texas is ranked. I should look at this. 21. I was going to say not in the top 20, just outside at 21. But Texas A&M is sitting there at 6. So, we'll see how the season progresses with the recruiting for the next few years now, with Texas and Oklahoma making that move. How does that affect recruiting positively, negatively? Again, to me, that Texas A&M situation, again, is one of the more fascinating ones to me to follow here as the SEC starts to develop and reorganize. Again, Texas A&M 6, Iowa State number 7. We've been talking about teams that might, the Big Ten might be looking at it as a good fit, and we've talked about Iowa State being one of those teams that you think the Big Ten would likely go after. Cincinnati is sitting there at number 8, Notre Dame at number 9, North Carolina at 10. Other Big Ten schools, it's interesting. Penn State is the 5th Big Ten team in the AP rankings. Ohio State, as we mentioned, is number 4. Then it's Wisconsin at number 12. And then you have Indiana at 17 and Iowa at 18 before Penn State at 19. So, a chance for Penn State again to make that splash right out of the gate. with the game at Wisconsin. You win that game on the road against a higher-ranked opponent. Again, it does wonders for the start of the season and at least the national perception of the program. We'll take a timeout here. The Dear Goon with some feed issues, and we'll continue with more of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. We're coming to you from Quaker Steak and Lube, and we're back after
Lion
this.
Country Kia is offering exceptional deals on your new Kia during Kia's Command the Season event.
We have a nice selection on the 2021 Kia Sportage with various options and prices as low as $26,800, saving you $3,000. Or if you demand big power and towing capacity, slip into one of the 2021 Kia Sorrentos available on our lot, starting at $32,680.
Discover why Kia drivers throughout the area come to Lion Country Kia or visit online at lioncountrykia.com.
Quaker Steak and Lube is throwing open the garage doors and setting up the umbrellas. It's patio season. Come enjoy great food, drinks, and fun in the sun. There's always something happening at Quaker Steak and Lube, but we're really amping up our event calendars for our favorite time of year. Visit thelube.com to find out what's happening at your local lube this season. Lunch, happy hour, dinner, or late night, indoors or outside, at Quaker Steak and Lube, you'll always find big flavors, friendly faces, and lots of fun.
Hi, Johnny Broom here. If you're in the market for a new Hyundai or a pre-owned car, truck, van, or SUV, nobody beats a Blaze Alexander deal. But don't take my word for it.
Hey, Goon says tell him Johnny sent you.
Hey, tell him Johnny sent ya.
Tell him Johnny sent you.
Wait, tell him Juan or tell him Johnny sent you?
Tell him Johnny sent you.
Here at Bill Pickles Tap Room, we say,
tell him Johnny sent you.
And remember,
And we welcome you back into the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show again. We'll apologize for the Dear Goon. Yeah, what are you going to do? It's technology. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And again, he had to be at home with the pooches. They're in recovery mode right now. Michael joins us, and big doings. Again, it's going to be nice. We keep talking about just the opportunity for people to be able to get back together, start actually having human contact again. The summer's been wonderful for that. Seeing some folks that I had not seen in it seems like forever, but literally well over a year. And in a couple of cases, actually, been a couple of years since we got to see each other face to face. And another opportunity coming up here for a wonderful cause. But appreciate you taking the time and coming down today.
I appreciate you having us.
Let's talk a little bit about, for folks that don't know about the celebrity softball game and all that goes with it. Let's talk a little bit about it and how it initially came to be.
Well, I used to work with some special needs individuals, and one of the gentlemen I worked with was David Thompson. He was born with Down syndrome. Life of the party. I mean, if I cracked a joke, he had one coming back quick as I couldn't put anything by him. And he started to develop Alzheimer's. We were at the Spice game one day, and they had a table there set up on, to put walk teams together. And we threw a team together real quick, raised a couple $1,000 and after 3 months, and just went from there. And we decided the following year to put this tournament together, and it was supposed to raise $2,000-3,000, and it raised like 15, a little bit over 15 the first year, and it's been pretty consistent. We'll pass the 60,000 mark total this year.
Is that right?
Yeah, so it's got to be a bigger event than I was expecting.
Talk a little bit about the event. When is it? Where is it? How can people get involved? What are the ways that they can contribute?
Well, it's October 16th. It's usually in May, but with all the COVID stuff, we pushed it back to the fall to try to let things calm down a little bit. So, but it's October 16th. It's at the Hess Fields out on Earlytown Road there. What we do is we have a co-ed softball tournament. We got 2 brackets. We got the really good teams that come out and beat the crap out of each other, and then we got guys like me that just like to go out and play, and we think we're good, but we're not as good as we thought we were. So we got those two divisions, and we play to around lunchtime, and then we bring in the celebrities. We usually have local sports, TV, radio. Some politicians come in. We shut everything down. The celebrities have a home run derby. The guys that are playing have their own home run derby. There's a little cash incentive on that one. There's a trophy on the other one. After the home run derby's over, the celebrities play like an hour scrimmage game. It's not real competitive. There's a lot of trash talking, but it's not real competitive. It's just, so if you're a celebrity out there and you're worried about not, hey, I can't play softball, trust me, you won't have an issue. But
fit right in.
Yeah, you'll be okay. I mean, it's a good time. People come out, they enjoy watching it, the camaraderie, the trash talking, and then we just go back to playing ball again. And so far, it's been a good event. Like I said, it gets a little bigger every year. It's been a little slower this year just because of the whole COVID thing, but we reached out to our sponsors and we told them, we said, hey, you've been with us when it's been tough. With COVID, we'll let you, if you can't afford the sponsors, we'll still put you out there and advertise you, just as a good faith thing. And to their credit, and probably 90% of them have come back and some at even higher levels than they've been before. So.
I'm presuming that there are still more sponsorship opportunities if somebody's out there and would be willing to throw in some money for sponsorship.
There's always sponsorship opportunities. We're looking for. We have different levels. There's 250, 500, 750, 1,000, and our title sponsors is 2,500. We have a Facebook page of Davis Dreamers Celebrity Softball Tournament. We'll blast you all over that. We got banners. There's a game day program we put you in. We make sure we get your name out there. We're not just asking you to hand us your money. We'll work for it. We're also looking for in-kind donations, for raffles and stuff. We're looking for teams. We'll take it up to 16 teams, 8 in each division. Right now we're at about 12, so we could use a couple more teams. And if there's any celebrities out there, and you might not think you're a celebrity, but people outside here think you are, reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to put you out on the field.
Folks that are interested in fielding a team, how do they get hold of you? How do they join to sign up?
The best way is just to go on the Facebook page. Like I said, it's David Dreamers Celebrity Softball Tournament. There's 2 David Dreamers pages. Go to the one for the Celebrity Softball Tournament, and just send me a direct message. I'll get back to you. You can also call me if you want. It's 814-482-8305. Like I said, we got probably 5 teams in each division, so it's a first come, first serve basis. It's $150 a team. That guarantees you 2 games. That pays for the balls, the umpires, everything. You just show up and play, and come out and have a good time, support a good cause.
Need any volunteers to help out with any component of it at this point?
We could always use some volunteers. We do some food out there, and we do some raffles, and we use people running back and forth between the fields and make sure the umpires get paid and hydrated and stuff like that. And we like to keep them happy. If we don't keep them happy, they don't come back. So.
Very important. Giving me an idea, again, of how this has grown over the years. Again, you said could field up to 16 teams here for this year's tournament, but it really has been kind of neat to see the way this thing has expanded here over the last few years.
Yeah, well, the first year I think we had 11 teams, and like I said, it was supposed to just be a small event. And a lady named Carrie Richards done a lot of stuff with it. She's like, well, why don't you get some sponsors? So we started reaching out to sponsors, and the response was great. I mean, a lot of people I've actually had people come up to me and ask just to sponsor that we didn't actually think that would be a sponsor, and it's just been that kind of outgrowth. Each year we've grown a little bit more. It started with just me and 1 or 2 other people trying to put it together, and now we've kind of formed the board, and so there's about 8 of us that work together just planning everything, it's always nice to have help. I still like to make sure everything's getting done because I'm one of those people, I guess. But yeah, it's gotten bigger. The celebrities keep coming. Trying to get Jeff here to come. This year we haven't been confirmed yet, but they're both very interested as long as their schedules are cooperative. We got Tyler Smith maybe coming out this year to play Penn State basketball. The Magic Man, I just talked to him the other day. He's very interested. as long as he doesn't get called off to do some more wrestling somewhere across the world, it's a little rough carrying that medal around with you
Yes, I'm
sometimes.
telling you. Yeah, he's been keeping himself pretty busy. That's for sure. If folks are, is there a deadline for in terms of the team entry?
We'd like to have at least 2 weeks before the tournament as far as getting a team in.
Yeah.
Just so we can get the schedule all worked out and the logistics of everything. As far as if you want to be a sponsor, we'd like at least a week. We have to get the banners made that we put out on the field. And like I said, the more you sponsor, the more we're going to put you out there with bigger banners, better placement on the fields and stuff like that. But I mean, we'll do everything we can to accommodate you, even if you're not. If you're last minute and you decide, hey, we got a team here. I know things are a little tight and tough right now. People trying to get commitments out of people, vacations coming up. That's one of the issues we've run into here in the fall is with it being in the fall, we got people that are on vacation or they have softball with their girls or stuff like that. So we're going to try to get it back to May next year and eliminate a lot of that. A lot of people don't start vacation quite that early and stuff like that. So we'll work with you as much as we can. So just reach out and let us know.
Any particular needs at this point? You mentioned prizes. Is there anything that you're kind of urgently in need of in terms of either sponsorships, prizes, volunteers for any particular aspect of it?
I wouldn't say urgently. We could definitely use some raffle items. Anybody that's got a product out there, even some of you craft people that are out there that want to get their businesses out. We put your stuff out there with the name on it. But the biggest thing is, like I said, just getting the word out, getting the teams together. We have the Alzheimer's Association. They're working on getting us some food. Texas Roadhouse always helps us out with food, so they've always been good with it. So anything anybody can put the word, we're more than happy to work with. But basically, we just want to get the word out and then go to the State College Walk to End Alzheimer's. Go to their webpage. They got a walk coming up here in October. I believe it's the 31st. I believe it's at Meadowfield again, but that's up in the air with everything that's going around. But go to the website, check it out. They're doing a lot of good things to get the word out and research and awareness of the disease. It's not pretty.
No. The research has been amazing, and there have been some breakthroughs. Not quite the breakthrough that we're hoping for just yet, but it does feel like we're heading in a very good direction here in the fight against Alzheimer's, and being able to at least ease some of the issues that come around. And it's hard for the individual suffering, but it is really difficult on those that are close and living with that individual as well. It's a very tough situation, very tough disease.
Yeah, watching Dave go through it. Like I said, he went from being the life of the party to not even knowing who he was half the time, and that was really hard to watch, and just to watch his family have to suffer through it as well. But we want to find we want to find a cure, or at least advancements to help deal with it.
Yeah.
And this is one way we can do it and have a good time while we're doing it.
Very good time. Give us the details again on the when, where, and how people can reach out and contact you.
Yeah, tournament is October 16th. It's at Hessfield and State College here. You can reach out to us at David's Dreamers Celebrity Softball Tournament. That's going to be on Facebook. Or like I said, you can call me at 814-482-8305. We'll be glad to get a hold of you, and hopefully we can fill this up and make a lot of money again this year.
As always, appreciate the time. Appreciate all you do, man.
Thank you, sir.
It is just wonderful to see this thing come together each year. I am working to make my schedule accommodate. I would love to be there. I can't commit to it just yet, but I am working on it. I promise you. Always good to see you.
I'll keep pushing.
Yes, I appreciate that more than you know. We'll take a break here. Chris Buchanani we're making the call to the bullpen. Booch will be in for the beloved Goon, who's having some technical issues at home with the Pooches, but we'll be back with more of our Tuesday edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here from Quaker Steak and Lube right after
Lion
this.
Country Kia is offering exceptional deals on your new Kia during Kia's Command the Season event.
We have a nice selection on the 2021 Kia Sportage with various options and prices as low as $26,800, saving you $3,000. Or if you demand big power and towing capacity, slip into one of the 2021 Kia Sorrentos available on our lot, starting at $32,680.
Discover why Kia drivers throughout the area come to Lion Country Kia or visit online at lioncountrykia.com.
Quaker Steak and Lube is throwing open the garage doors and setting up the umbrellas. It's patio season. Come enjoy great food, drinks, and fun in the sun. There's always something happening at Quaker Steak and Lube, but we're really amping up our event calendars for our favorite time of year. Visit thelube.com to find out what's happening at your local lube this season. Lunch, happy hour, dinner, or late night, indoors or outside, at Quaker Steak and Lube, you'll always find big flavors, friendly faces, and lots of fun.
Hi, Johnny Broom here. If you're in the market for a new Hyundai or a pre-owned car, truck, van, or SUV, nobody beats a Blaze Alexander deal. But don't take my word for it.
Hey, Goon says tell him Johnny sent you.
Hey, tell him Johnny sent ya.
Tell him Johnny sent you.
Wait, tell him Juan or tell him Johnny sent you?
Tell him Johnny sent you.
Here at Bill Pickles Tap Room, we say,
Tell him Johnny sent you.
And remember,
Tell him Johnny sent you.
And we are back. Rotating through.
Yeah, we're
feel like I'm at a Pirates game.
we're batting through the order
Bring
here.
another one in.
Yeah.
See what this guy can do. No, he's no good either.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Actually, I'd be the first one out of here if it had to do with performance. I apologize. I am on fumes. I don't even won't bore you with the details, but
doesn't it feel like
here.
Everybody right now is working harder for less?
Yes,
and I was just texting with Goon, who is like super frustrated because, of course, he's had all the stress of his dog.
Yeah.
God bless Poppy. It looks like it's going to be a long recovery process, obviously, but a successful surgery and everything trending in the right direction. So he's home tending to his four-legged friend, and so you have the internet problems. And then, I was just saying, I'm like, I've never been less excited for a Penn State football season. I think it's just because I'm exhausted.
Well,
I'm just working all the time.
It's
just
funny
get my
you say
skull
that.
caved in on the regular.
So,
which is hopefully what we're going to do to the Badgers in 18 days.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I'm probably sharing more information than I should or need to, but so because of all of the concerns right now with COVID, and now we're back. I feel like we're back where we were at the very start of this thing, where you're making 20 different contingency plans, right? Everybody's hoping for this, but now starting to feel more and more like it's not going to be that. I am really curious to see what happens here with Penn State and how.
Now the university you're
handled.
talking about, not
I'm talking
football.
about the university and football.
Oh no! Stop! Come on!
I'm telling you, there's
don't borrow trouble, brother.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm concerned. I'll leave it at that. That being said, one of the issues. So I got a call from my brother-in-law. My youngest nephew is, how this happened, because he was 5 years old like a couple of days ago. I swear to you.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a senior going into his senior year of high school, which it's just, I'm having a very difficult time wrapping my mind around it. I'm still having a hard time wrapping my mind around the oldest nephew being in high school, let alone now in his second year of college. But anyways, youngest nephew heading to his senior year of high school and finishing up his soccer. He plays soccer, and this will be his last season of high school soccer. So my mom was talking to my brother-in-law the other day, and I thought for sure she had it wrong. She's like, hey, would love to have the whole family out if we can make it work. his senior day will be September 4th. And I'm like, oh my gosh, poor mom is confusing the season opener with senior day.
They're going to put it right up front.
It would be cool to be there for the season opener, but that is the deal.
Yeah.
Because I called out, I'm like, okay, so when is the actual senior day? Well, yeah, that is when it is, because and it's not the first game, but it is early, and that is why, because they're wanting to make sure they have that opportunity. And of course, September 4th, as I know all of you are well aware, so the game is at 2:00. And this is the thing. And I'm like, yes, I'm not thrilled about it, but I'm like, no, I'm definitely going to watch my nephew play soccer.
You'll be fine. We'll be up 3 TDs.
Exactly right. And I'll have it streamed. I mean, I'm going to be glued in, so it's not like I'm going to be checking out. I will have it streaming, and if there's internet problems, I have the radio. We'll at least have the audio backup. Everything will be, so I will be locked in. But and again, I don't want to make it sound like I don't care, but I'm like, no, I am more wanting to see my nephew and his final opportunity here of playing soccer for his high school team than I am even. And again, don't get me wrong, I am jacked up about the upcoming season. I'm excited about it, but I don't know if it's just COVID or, again, there's been so many things for me, now 2 years into marriage and new family and taking care of a 6-year-old and watching him explore all kinds of new aspects to his world, and every day he's wanting to try something new, and that's just so cool to see and to experience with him. And so again, it's one of those things where and I don't know that this is actually the case. I feel like 3 years ago, I would have been really debating whether or not, listen, how about I'll meet you up for dinner after my nephew's game. I'll be out there, but I got to go to a bar and watch. And I'm like, no, we'll be there, and I'll figure out how to watch the game, listen to it, whatever, and I'll go back and watch it more closely and all of that later anyway.
Yeah, I mean, not to dig too deep, man. Like, I didn't know Goon's internet was going to crap out here, so I'm truly pinch hitting today, right, on the fly. So not to be too doom and gloom or whatever, but like, to me, it does kind of feel like that's just the mood of the country right now. Like, stuff is not really going so well. We got these like Saigon-style images coming out of Afghanistan. We all thought this was going to be the big celebration of a return to normalcy, and instead we are backsliding at warp speed right back into where we were before. I mean, it's just not a lot of stuff to feel too great about. But to hell with it. Nobody here wants to hear us bitch and moan, Ironhead. They want us to uplift them and tell them how good the Nittany Lions are going to be.
And listen, I do think, as we've been saying, I do think
10-2. I picked them to go 10-2, and I'm sticking by it until they lose their third game.
And I think
God willing will not happen in September, although it most certainly could.
It absolutely could. No, this thing could go off the rails right away.
I saw somebody make the comment that they had never seen a Penn State schedule, and I'm not sure I agree with this. I kind of thought this going into the 2018 season too, but they had never seen a Penn State schedule where they could so easily plot out 11-1 and 7-5 and really defend it.
Yeah.
Again, I think there have been a couple of years. I mean, look, you and I have been following this team for a long time, and there have been transitional periods. Right, like
there have been years where you're like, you know that it's a 3 or 4 loss season. 85 was one of them.
I was just going to say, you and I were talking about the 85 team, right? Like, nobody saw what that team did.
And conversely, coming off of the the 79 season where they had everybody back from that 78 season. I know we're going back a ways for some folks here, but I'm telling you, that 79 team was like an ironclad lock to be at least a top 5 team, and I think most were expecting it to contend for the national title, and the wheels came off pretty early in that campaign. And, you look at the 99 campaign, the way that ended, and, the hangover that occurred for the next, 5-6 seasons after that. Good God. So there are seasons where you think you know one thing or the other and you don't. But yeah, it does feel like I don't think there are a lot of fans that'll be shocked with an 11-1 performance. And I don't think there are a lot of fans that would be shocked with the 7-4. Like I think or 7-5, whatever. Disappointed. I mean, I'm not I'm not saying fans are, oh yeah, no, we're okay with that. But I mean, I don't, coming off of last season and with another new coordinator, and I mean, like there are reasons that you can certainly, not the least of which is, again, that schedule. That Ball State game is dangerous. You're starting out Wisconsin. Well, you lose both of those games, which I think is entirely possible. Not predicting it, not expecting it, but it's certainly within the realm of possibility. Those are two good teams, and if Penn State loses to Wisconsin, right, and can't shake that, again, that Ball State team is veteran enough and good enough that it will come in if Penn State is not dialed in and locked in. Again, 0-2, and then you lose some of the luster for the whiteout game, and who knows what's going to happen with the COVID. So yeah, I mean, and there's obviously, I mean, the Iowa game is a big concern.
You got to go to Kinnick. You got to go to the shoe. I think I am a little nervous at this point that Michigan is almost on the cusp of becoming like underrated for being overrated for being underrated, right? Like I get that they're probably not going to be very good, but people are now writing off Michigan like there's some scrub program. And look, I cannot shake, despite all the evidence we have gotten during Jim Harbaugh's tenure in Ann Arbor, the memory of him turning Stanford football around, because everybody is now used to like a decade plus of pretty consistently competitive Stanford football. When Jim Harbaugh got there, like that program was in the doldrums. So he turned them around and he built what they've now turned into and been able to sustain. And then same deal, like the San Francisco 49ers were in the middle of a protracted rut. And he took them to 3 straight NFC championship games and a Super Bowl. The guy can obviously coach. A bunch of reasons he hasn't been able to put it together in Michigan, one of which being like Michigan has always been a place that I think the press has propped up into being a place that's easier to win than it actually is to win there. But just in terms of the talent he has accumulated and the way recruiting services have evaluated it, all the pieces are still there for that to be a team that would have every right to be in the conversation for chasing Ohio State for the Big Ten East lead. So I just get a little bit nervous when now people just chalk that up like, oh, that's a W.
Well, and again, I think you look at the depth of the programs rather in the Big Ten right now. Again, Indiana, which you used to always take for granted. I mean, that's a solid team. I was watching the flipping around as I am wont to do these days in the overnight hours with the Big Ten Network, and they were talking about that Rutgers team is going to be very interesting to watch.
I'll tell you what, I think 6 wins this year.
Yeah, it is a really veteran team. It's dangerous. They're not going to be contending for a Big Ten title, but they have a lot of guys back. Greg Schiano, you can say what you want about Rutgers. That dude just knows how to flat out coach and get the best out of the kids he has, and he comes up with the schemes that fits the personnel. I mean, Rutgers is not competing for a Big Ten title, but can they jump up on a given Saturday? And if you don't think there's one game circled on the calendar for Rutgers every season, you're out of your mind.
By the way,
especially with Greg Schiano now back as head coach. I mean, no matter who's coaching there, that's the case. But
we are absolutely racing Michigan as to which one of us is going to be the historical power that steps on his junk and gives Greg Schiano his high watermark signature win. And if I had to bet my mortgage, I would probably bet on us, frankly. But I hope I'm wrong. I'm wrong. But let me just, real quickly, since you brought it up, because I was going to ask you about the BTN crew's visit to Happy Valley, but they split us up with Rutgers. When I was in the process of doing all my little assignments for the Town and Gown football annual, like, all your MVPs, team on the rise, and give your or predicted order of finish in the Big Ten. So I actually looked at every team's schedule, and I'm pulling it up, and it would be a big accomplishment for Greg Schiano to get them into a bowl game this year.
Oh, are you? I mean, from a program momentum standpoint, I mean, if he comes in and does that, and I think it is certainly possible, yes, then again, I'm not expecting that Rutgers is going to propel itself to, it's going to be Rutgers and Ohio State battling for Big Ten titles every year. But I'm telling you, Schiano is more than capable of getting that program to a point where it is going
Penn
to be
State's heels in our recruiting territory.
Yep,
yeah,
it's going to be competitive more often
and a game you can't just totally write off. So I have them going. I have them able to get to 6 wins if they can run undefeated through their conference slate, which is manageable. They open against Temple at home. That's a night game. Then they travel to Syracuse and they play Delaware. So Syracuse is way down. Again, if they play like they did at the beginning of the season, especially defensively, I think they can get Syracuse. Same thing, that Temple game ought to be competitive, but it's a home game. Yeah. And then Delaware, they should be able to get that one for sure. And then schedule doesn't do them any favors after that. They go to Ann Arbor and then host Ohio State in back-to-back weeks to open Big Ten play. But then they've got a 3-game stretch, and this is where I got the other 3 W's. They got to host Michigan State, travel to Northwestern, and then play at Illinois the following week. Now, to close out the season, then they play Wisconsin at home, at Indiana, at Penn State versus Maryland. That Maryland game is maybe a bit of a toss-up. But in those 7 games, it's not crazy. It's not crazy to say that they could win 6 of them, right?
Yeah. No, for sure. And again, it's a relatively dangerous team. Again, I don't want to build them up and make them sound like they're world beaters, but it's a lot of guys that have been through a lot, that have been with the program for a while. And again, it's a veteran team, and you have a coach who knows how to utilize the pieces that he has on the field. I'm with you. I think 6 wins, 7 wins is doable. For Rutgers, and again, if they get
to 7 wins,
that's going to build.
Even without a marquee upset, and because that would involve beating Wisconsin, Penn State, Michigan, one. Even if they lose to all the teams who they quote unquote should, they get 7 wins. Greg Schiano is the Big Ten Coach of the Year unless Penn State's undefeated.
Yeah, I definitely in serious consideration at the very least.
Because that program's been a mess for years and years. But I think they still got a long way to go. But I think their schedule weighs out this year that they can maybe get to 6 in bowl eligibility. So did you get a chance to see everything the BTN guys had to say?
Not everything, but most of it. Yeah,
you've certainly seen the infamous clip, which has just given all of Nittany Nation acid reflux. So there's this 5-second cryptic conversation where they talk about the quarterback situation. Yes. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I think, look, there's plenty of reasons in the body of work, specifically last year, to be uptight, a little nervous about what we're going to get out of Sean Clifford in his 3rd season as a starter and on his 3rd offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, and system. Let's pump the brakes on, drinking the bleach over the 5 seconds of Jerry DiNardo not gushing over the 20 minutes he got to watch Sean Clifford. I think people really need the season to get here very, very badly. We are starting to really obsess over some pretty meaningless minutia.
Well, and here's the thing. At the end of the day, the biggest concern is if Clifford goes down, regardless of what you think about Clifford's play.
Oh, yeah.
And regardless of what you think about Roberson or any of the other guys, Clifford has to stay healthy for this team.
Neither one of those scholarship
the type of season that everybody's talking about. Right. Yep. You start there. Yes, does he have to take another step forward to get where Penn State wants to be, for sure. And again, for me, I'm very much just I just want to see how it comes together. I'm not predicting anything for Sean Clifford because I haven't seen enough to make me think that this guy can go out and light the world on fire. Which is, I'm not saying he can't, but there's nothing that I've seen to this point that I'm expecting, okay, yep, this guy could go out and be a Heisman candidate, complete 70% of his passes and lead this team up and down the field consistently. But I'm not sure
nor are you ready to light yourself on fire because Howard Griffith was not effusive enough in his praise of him. In 10 seconds Big Ten Network gave them to talk about our quarterback situation.
This is also very true. But I'm also I don't think that's what they need from him either.
Very good
because
point.
The one thing the Big Ten Network and anybody who there are people who aren't paying any attention at all to college football that know Penn State's running backs are the strength of this football team, and it is bordering on absurd how deep and how good that offensive backfield is. You've got, and I think James Franklin I was right when he was talking with them about, listen, this is what kids and programs are expecting now is that you're going to play 3 running backs, and that is more the norm than not. There was a time when that wasn't the case, and I'm still one of the holdouts, and I do think there is benefit to having a featured back who can get into that flow of the game, can set things up, and it has to be an elite back to make that happen. But, Kajana Carter over the course of a game, and, he could hit you right out of the gate, too. I understand that. Oregon will attest to that. But over the course of a game, right, he could figure out, okay, this guy, we're winning this matchup over here, and you just get that feel if you're in that game consistently, and you sense when certain things are starting to happen and break. And I still like that aspect of having a featured back. But, the reality is, again, in the world we're living in where these guys now understand, and they understand when they're in high school, if they have NFL aspirations, they are not wanting to be the featured back who gets 25 to 30 carries.
Sure.
Blair Thomas wanted 25 to 30 carries. Kajana Carter wanted 25 to 30 carries. I'm not saying these guys would turn it down if it was offered, but that's not what they're looking for. They want the 10, 15 carries. Let me, show what I can do, but not take the pounding that those featured backs of the past did, because if you take that pounding in college, again, the longevity of an NFL career for a good, healthy back is 4 or 5 years.
Sure.
Generally speaking. So if you can save yourself up and, try to get 6 to 8 years of earning a paycheck at the NFL level, that's you take that. And
as there's attrition in the running back room, as happened with Saquon Barkley and then Miles Sanders, eventually your turn to be in the front of the batting order comes up. Right. Yep. And if you seize on that opportunity, you can look at Miles as a great example of somebody who's having success in the league and absolutely had lack of wear and tear as one of his selling points when it came time to evaluate him as a draft prospect.
And I do think if you're asking me the key, and, this has probably been the key since 94, right? The key for this team is the offensive line.
Oh,
but
boy.
It really is, right? You have this stable of backs, and there is no question, right? If you can establish that running game, Sean Clifford will be most effective with play action. That is his game. That you give him that extra second, he has enough understanding now and a good enough arm that is, to me, what he is designed to be is the play action. Again, he can give you enough maneuverability in the pocket, get you some yards if you need them with his feet. But what he really is you want to drop back and pick a defense apart, but you need to do it with a huge assist from that running game.
Yep.
And again, that means Penn State's got to be able to move people up front consistently, and have to do that against the Wisconsins and the Ohio States of the world if this program is going to get where it wants to be. And excuse me, and whether or not that happens, again, I think is still, I like this offensive line. I like on paper what they have and the different components, the flexibility, and I think that the depth is as good, certainly, as it's been since James Franklin's been here, and probably as good as it's been since the mid-'90s in terms of young players that you think are going to have an impact pretty quickly here with that O-line. So, if that offensive line can be good, and I mean good in the big games, I don't mean good and rack up great numbers against the right. Villanovas of the world, but if Penn State can show up and hold its ground against an Ohio State or right out of the gate against Wisconsin, again, I think everything else is in place there for this team to be successful, even against the schedule. And as we've talked about it, the issue with the Big Ten, much like the SEC, is there are very few. There are a couple of games there that, you can not play your best and you're going to be okay. But for Penn State, right, Rutgers is one of those games normally, but again, that game is so dialed in for Rutgers, right? Like you have to, if not bring your A game, you got to be at least in the A-B+ league to handle.
Look, we've gotten
uncomfortably
close against some way crappier, less well-coached Rutgers teams over the last few years. I will never forget. What was it? 2018.
Oh yeah,
we damn near lost to them. If that Rutgers quarterback doesn't fall on his rear end and drop a wide open pass in the end zone, like that would have completely changed that game. I mean, that still flashes before my eyes when I close them from time to time. That Rutgers quarterback alone in like a quadrant of the end zone. But of course, Rutgers football, instead he fell on his ass and got the ball. Yeah, right. So, but I want to give credit where it's due here. Nate Bauer from Blue White Illustrated was talking about the media availabilities at practice the other day. Just going back to what you were saying about the offensive line. And he said that in his observation, because this is their first time to really see Phil Trautwein be hands-on with the O-lineman.
Yeah.
No media availability to practice last year, obviously. And he said it is such a contrast from what you had with Herb Hand and Matt Limegrover, who were barkers. He said they would just scream and yell and rant and rave at the O-lineman. Now, I'm not taking anything away from either one of those guys as coaches. I think they're both solid. But clearly, screaming at the O-lineman didn't get him to block any better when it mattered in those big games. So, I am ready to hear that this guy is doing something markedly different, because what we have been doing for multiple years here hasn't been good enough.
No, I mean, it just hasn't.
And he has a national championship ring, and he played in the league.
Yeah, and there's a couple of things about it, too. As we've talked about, I think many times over the years, different coaching styles can be successful. So it's not that the yellers or barkers can't be successful.
For sure.
But I will say, and I think every coach has to be true to themselves. And if that's your personality, I mean, again, you got to stick with it. You can't just, be the cerebral guy if that's not who you are and I don't mean that they don't know. That's not a cut at them. But again, there's room for the Tony Dungy's and there's rooms for the John Grudens, and that, there's all kinds of paths to success. But I will say I like much more the guys that, hey, this is what we're trying to do. This is how you go about doing it. This is now, if they've told you that 10 times and you're still not doing it. Yeah, you guys, hey, do what we're telling you to do, right? But hopefully you're, recruiting guys that are enough into what they're doing that and have enough of a concept of, hey, this is I get it, and this is what we're after. I just. And it's the time of year where you should be optimistic if you're a fan, right? Or even covering a team. But I really do have a good feeling about this team this season. And again, I don't know if that good feeling results in 9-3, 10-2, 12-0, but I do think this is a team that will be dialed in from the get-go. I don't know. The offensive line is, again, a quote-unquote concern. It's just the area that I'm going to be most interested to see right out of the gate how it does. But Sean Clifford, for me, is still the biggest other piece of the equation, and maybe right there with the offensive line, because I don't know whether he is capable of being, again, that guy that just takes that next step. And again, it's not a cut at him. It's, as you said, 3 different offensive coordinators. That's not fair. That's not right for any quarterback to have to go through that. But the advantage of that is right now he's had a chance to pick 3 pretty good offensive minds, right? And be able to, see how they're approaching it. It sounds like everything is clicking, at least in the offseason here, in terms of kids buying in and understanding what is being asked for this offensive coach and this offensive system in the upcoming season. I do think the receiving core is good and has a chance to be really, really good.
Yep.
The running back core, again, is rock solid. And I think the defense is going to be good. Injury notwithstanding, I think it's going to be interesting to see how it is they piece everything together and who exactly lines up where in different situations.
That front four is going to be a bit of a work in progress, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be I think you might see some different guys in there for expected run pass situations, right? And I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. And but I like the depth in that secondary. I like the personnel they have there. I think the recruiting portal has been or transfer portal used as a recruiting vehicle has been very beneficial this year. Is more beneficial than it's ever been for Penn State, and I think it's going to help on that D line. It certainly is helping, if nothing else, with the depth for sure in the secondary. And I do think that again that the pieces are there for this to be a special season. But again, the margin for error is very thin in a league like the Big Ten. And broken record for sure here, but confidence is such a big part of athletics. And I do think the start that Penn State had last year contributed to the problems. They were not comfortable and confident enough to go out and execute what was being asked of them. And to their credit, they figured it out. I mean, it's still remarkable to me that you could have that 0-5 start and then have the 4-0 run that they had down the stretch and look as good as they did down the stretch. And I do think that is helping from that confidence standpoint going into the offseason. And I do think these guys want to go out and prove a point. And I think it's properly being viewed as just a wonderful opportunity, that Wisconsin game. But again, I if you're asking me right now, I'm projecting that this team will be 4-0 after those first 4 games. But could I see 2-2 or even 1-3? Yeah, I think it's conceivable. I think Penn State. It's those first 2 games are the most troublesome. Auburn, if in fact, and we have the whiteout and it is a sellout crowd and all of that. That Auburn game, Penn State's just the better team. They just have more talent, position by position, and in that atmosphere, whether they're 0-2 or 2-0 going into that game, I really have a difficult time seeing a loss there against Auburn. I just think they're going to be so jacked up, and if they're 0-2, they're going to be hungry for a win. If they're 1-1, whatever it is, I still think that's a win, and then Villanova. So it's those first 2 games to me that are the tone setters, and for me, that Wisconsin game, again, is just viewed as an opportunity more than anything, and I think these guys will go out and get it done. I just and again, I also don't think this is a great Wisconsin team, and that doesn't. I think it's a very good Wisconsin team.
Mhm.
I won't be surprised if they're in the Big Ten championship game, but I don't think it's as good as the team that I don't think it's as good as the team that Penn State beat in 2016, because I think that was a really good Wisconsin team, and I don't think it's as good as the last couple of Wisconsin teams overall. And again, I still think they're really good and could end up in the Big Ten championship game. But I think this Penn State team, I think it is a wonderful opportunity, because the perception, I think, of with a win out there, again, on the road against a team that is higher ranked to start the season, like, that's what you want, right? And if you win that, take care of business, dial in against Ball State, again, then I think you get to that 4-0 mark. I think you have a lot of confidence, momentum. You have, I think, time then to have everything else figured out. And, okay, this is our best foot moving forward. This is what we want to do and implement. And I think, again, I think then the world is your oyster. I think everything is there. And as seemingly is always the case, then it comes down to Ohio State. And can you figure out a way to get the extra couple of points when the final seconds tick off the clock. So we'll see. Looking forward to it, though. Thank you for pinch hitting, dear Booch.
Always a pleasure.
Dear Goon, we feel for you, man. I've been there way too many times over the years with the technical issues, but glad your pooches are on the mend. Thanks to Mike. If you have an opportunity to get involved in any way with that softball game in October, it really is a really cool event that they do a great job with. And for Booch, I'm Ironhead. Thanks for tuning in today. We'll be back on Thursday with yet another edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show.